Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Jeremy Sutton here, your host with Kevin Anson, video producer extraordinaire. And we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship and, how he's built his business and things like that. So, Kevin, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast with me today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, just kind of tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I pretty much produce videos. I've been doing it for 14 years, almost 15 years now. And I like to tell people, I started out as a video guy and I didn't know what I was doing for like 11 or 12 years because I was good at the art side of the videos. I could make, I made thousands of videos for people. I go out, shoot the video, edit it, do this whole thing. But I was always like making a video that would please the CEO or the business owner, right? Like if he was happy, I was happy. It was like, all right, cool. We put this video out, put it on their website. And in the last 3 years, I started to learn the marketing side. So it's kind of like I married up the art with the science. And so once I figured out the marketing of how videos are supposed to work and how they actually drive results when you make them, that's when the whole world it shifted and it opened up for me. And so, that's kind of my story, like a quick version of my story in a nutshell. But yeah, I've been producing videos for a really long time, done thousands. And so now I'm like a video marketing expert. And then, and I got 4 kids, wife and kids live out here in Southern California. It's actually in Temecula. We call it a mini Napa Valley out here because it's like we have a small wine country. Awesome. And it's a really cool place to live. So
cool, man. Awesome. Well, Kevin, how did you get into video producing?
I was in college and a friend of mine showed me a video that he made with iMovie, and he shot a bunch of footage and put a song to it, made like a music video. And I was like, dude, I have to learn how to do that. And at the time I was a communications major. I didn't know what I was doing. Like most people don't in college. They're just just kind of following the herd, if you will. And that was the moment where I realized I'm like, I need to learn how to do videos. And so that was back in 2002. And then kind of just like turned my compass in that direction way back then. And ever since I've been producing videos. I figured out a way to get people to pay me money to do it once I got out of college. And then I just kind of followed that path.
Awesome, man. So Kevin, have you always worked for yourself?
I've worked for myself since 2011. And prior to that, I was in the corporate world for about 7 years and, working as like, the director of video production for different companies and just kind of running their video departments. So that's kind of where I got my start. Like once I got out of college, got some jobs, did that for 7 years and then got laid off and just decided, I'd go for it and start my own company.
Wow. What was the transition like going from corporate to now being on your own?
It was scary. I mean, I got to be honest, I probably would not have jumped off the cliff had somebody not pushed me off. Like I got laid off and I had a 6-month-old baby at the time and I had my wife and it was just like, it was scary. And she was the one person who, was my rock in that. Like she convinced me that I should probably just start my own company instead of go out and, find another job. So just her saying that to me, like, hey, you should probably just start your own company. You've got a couple of clients already. Like, let's go for it. And then, so like just her saying that, it was almost like it made me feel like it was going to be okay to fail because we knew there was that possibility, so just her saying those words to me, I was like, let's go for it. And so I day one, 2011, I hit the ground running hard. I mean, I was on Craigslist. I was, putting up making a website. I was cold calling people, emailing people, like doing anything that I could to build my business. And, it paid off. So.
Right. So what you're telling me is you weren't an overnight success.
No, it took a while. I mean, even for the first, 2 or 3 years, it was a roller coaster. I mean, you're going to start off and you're going to, you get some wins and then you get a couple losses. Like, you're to the point where it's like, you don't even have any money in your account. Your account's in the negative. You can't pay your bills. You're bugging people to pay you. It's like, that stuff. It even happens to this day to me sometimes, like where certain things all of a sudden just aren't working out. And, it's a roller coaster. And so, yeah, it's not all rainbows and unicorns when you go out and start a business. I think if people would start businesses more if they thought it was going to be all easy. It's not easy. I mean, both sides of the coin are hard, whether you work for someone or whether you own your own business. But it's definitely worth the freedom that I have.
Right. So what do you do, Kevin, when you have those rough times, like say early on, and I mean, did you ever think about going back to the corporate world, or was it just always, no, we're going to keep moving forward in this?
I had considered it probably once or twice, going back to the corporate world when the business wasn't doing very well. But that was the one thing that, it just made me, I don't know, whatever the analogy is, to swim a little bit harder back up to the top. Cause I was like, man, I cannot go work for someone else again. Cause I just have that personality where it bothers me. Like, I think authority bothers me. Like, I don't like having to do something for someone else and actually have to, make videos that make them money, yet I'm still getting paid the same amount. And it always bothered me. And so, that was the thing that just kind of kept me going. I was just like, I cannot work for someone else again. I'm not going to do that. And so it would just make me, grind a little bit harder. There's like a study that I think someone did once. It's like, when people are backed into a wall, it's when they do their best work, and they actually like, they become like, you get creative, you get innovative, and you start doing whatever it takes to feed your family. Like if we were like that all the time, like we would all probably be millionaires. Right. But like,
Right.
Once you get backed into a wall, like you figure it out. Like you start picking up the phone, you get resourceful, you do what it takes to provide for your family. And so, that's just, I forget where I was going with that, but like, yeah, I would not let myself hit rock bottom in the business. I would always just claw myself back up to the top.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think it's important to have a spouse that supports you, and kind of you already talked about that, how your wife was your rock, and my wife's the same way with the stuff that we do. But I told my wife that same thing one day. I was like, I don't think I like authority, and she was like, are you just now seeing that? Because I've known that for the last 10 years. I was like, I guess I'm slow. I guess I don't know. So.
Yeah, same. It's interesting. I mean, if you're somebody who's feeling like that, like you might be listening to this, like I think instead of like, just think about where you're not wasting, but where you're spending your time. Like if you're spending your time, you get home from work and like maybe you spend some time playing some video games or whatever it is. It's kind of like that trade-off. Like what could you be doing? Like even if you put just an hour after work, an hour in every single day, just to learning something or building something or make a website. Like even if you don't even know what you're going to sell yet, just make a website about some kind of a service. Like that's the thing I always recommend to people. Get into the service business, like learn some kind of a trade or service. Like don't worry about products, because products take a while to make. Like if you're going to make some widget and like invent something, like that takes a long time. Like get into the service business, at least to get yourself some extra gravy, like make some extra money every month. Like learn how to make, do graphic design, or learn how to, do video editing, learn how to build websites, or learn how to run Facebook ads or YouTube ads, or do social media or something. Like learn something that people will pay you for. Like there's plenty of people who will pay you, $500 a month if you just would write a script for them, or, do some, copy some documents over to, whatever. There's a lot of different things that you can be doing. And, yeah, the service business is a great way to start making money, to make like once you earn your first dollar online outside of your current profession, like it is an amazing feeling, because there's a lot of people who want to hire people, especially in America. Sorry if you're watching this in another country, but like in America, people want to hire people in America.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100% because, I hired my first course. I help people write and self-publish books. And I'm a physical therapist. So I was marketing to other physical therapists because I have a lot of connections in that area. And so I sold like a $47 course and 22 people bought it the first time. And so, dude, I was like on cloud nine. Like,
Yeah.
It's like I made something and people actually bought it. And it wasn't because I was using my hand, it wasn't me actually sitting there face to face with somebody one-on-one. And it's an amazing feeling. And now I've sold, 2 other courses and growing that side of things. But I agree 100%. My sister has been a teacher for 10 years. She has a master's in biology and education, but she doesn't enjoy teaching anymore. And so she's been my virtual assistant, and she's been learning podcast editing and video. And she just learned how to build a website with WordPress this week. And we've had conversations. I'm like, you can have a legitimate business out of all of this and make way more money than you made teaching,
Yeah, that's totally. I mean, there's so many people out there who just don't want to build a website. They don't, they don't want to spend the time to do it. And if you're that person who can fill in and do that, I mean, absolutely, just go out and figure out. There's, go on. You don't even have to really buy a course if you don't want to. I mean, you could go on YouTube and learn how to make a WordPress site. I mean, you go on, some domain service like GoDaddy or whatever, buy a domain, and then you link it up to WordPress, and you find a WordPress template, you plug it in. Next thing you know, you have a website, and you're like, holy crap, I just built a website. Like, it's so easy. Like, I learned to do my own website. Like, it was like 10 years ago, and I just figured it out. Like, it took me a couple of days, and I sometimes might have been punching my keyboard, but I figured it out.
Right.
And I had a website, and I got it up. I was like, holy crap, I have a website. It makes you feel like you have like a business, and it's super cool. And then you learn how to do that. And then you're like, all right, I think I could probably charge someone to do this. Like, people would easily pay you at least $500 to build them a website, easily. And then, the more times you do it, the better you get at it. You get your first client, you ask them, hey, can you refer me to a friend or someone else? They refer you. Next thing you know, you got some testimonials, and then you're building your business. I mean, it's plenty of people are doing it. Like, if you think this is just some pipe dream that you're hearing, like, no, you can absolutely do that. Like, people will pay you money to do that stuff. Absolutely. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I have a good friend that lives in Jacksonville. He was in PT school and just decided he didn't want to do it anymore. And he's making money editing videos. And I know he was paid. One person paid him $750 to edit one small video. And I know that's not a lot of money. I mean, people pay a whole lot more. I know you know that, Kevin, but that's a lot of money to spend. If when you think about, well, I need to go to college for 4 years and I need to go to graduate school or whatever. Or you could just learn how to edit videos and podcasts and make plenty of money all day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the other thing that you can think about too is like every time you learn a new skill, like you have a new, like if you're wearing a tool belt, like every time you learn a new skill, you just put a nice tool in your tool belt. Like, you got a sword, you got a knife, you got a gun, like whatever, you got all this great stuff. Like for me, I have I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like my belt, I have a lot of stuff on my belt. I have a lot I can do if like the economy tanks and I mean, there it is tanking, but like when the economy, tanks or whatever, like you're more prepared for that type of thing because you can pivot into something else. Like if I had to stop making videos, which is what's my bread and butter, I could easily build websites or funnels or run Facebook ads, or I even know how to do, I can put up wainscoting paneling in a room. Like I know how to do some plumbing stuff. I can do carpentry. I can do all this stuff that people would pay me money for. So it's like, learn how to do stuff, like learn how to do like physical, like services. Because the more stuff you have in your tool belt, like the better off you're going to be long term. Because if you're always just the guy who only knows how to, you punch the clock and you know how to make sandwiches, like that's great. But like what happens when that company goes out of business, or you need to find another job, like that's all you know how to do is make sandwiches. Like you have to diversify. You got to be able to wear a bunch of hats. And so that's what's allowed me to become successful in what I do. Cause like a lot of video guys, when I first started out, they only knew how to edit videos. That was it. And I was always like, well, that kind of sucks. Then I'm just going to be an editor. I don't want to be like that. So I went out, I picked up a camera. So now I know how to shoot and I know how to edit. And then I was like, oh, I see all these cool like motion graphics. Like those are the cool graphics that pop up on the screen. Like when you're watching sports or anything like that. It says like the person's name and has like a cool design to it. And I'm like, I want to learn how to do that. So I learned how to do motion graphics. Now I've been doing that for over 10 years. And so like people hire me just to do that all the time. They're like, hey, can you make us a graphics package for our new YouTube show? I'm like, yep, I got you. And I'll like charge them, $4,000. I'll make them a cool graphics package. And like, had I not learned that skill, like that would have costed me hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last 10 years because I didn't know that skill. No one would had ever hired me for it. So anyways, it's that. And it's just like picking up new skills along the way. Like you will absolutely you'll crush life, like crush your career and your business.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. Guys, I hope if you're listening or watching this, you just paid attention to the last 2 minutes of what Kevin was saying, because it is absolutely the truth. I've been a medical professional for 11 years. And I've heard people in the last 2 weeks, we're going through COVID-19 as we record this. And, I've heard people say, well, my parents or my grandparents told me to be a doctor and I'd never be out of work. Well, guess what? There's millions of medical professionals sitting at home right now because they are deemed unnecessary. There's dentists, which is a very lucrative profession, a very great medical profession. They're sitting at the house right now because they're not essential. So I agree with what you're saying. And, it's funny. I didn't know how to do anything with videos or podcasting. And just in the last 3 years, I've learned, and you and I know a mutual friend, Alex Engar, who's also a physical therapist, but does digital marketing. And he's been the one that's taught me how to do podcast editing and video editing. And I'm not great, but I could do it for a local place and it would be just fine. I'm not going to go edit anything for CBS or anything, but I can get it done to where it looks good enough, and I can charge people for that. So I agree 100% with what you say, Kevin. So what about, I know you're doing some videos for some pretty big name people now. How did you market that, and how did you position yourself in a way to where you can go out and get a Russell Brunson or somebody like that to edit videos for?
So the best way that you can really, get some of the big fish, I like to call them, their attention. You might not be able to go after, the big companies right away, but you can always kind of try to find companies that are just underneath them, right? Go after them first, if that's all you're able to do. And it's just, going out and making the first couple projects, maybe, not more than one, but at least the first project for free. That's kind of how I grew my business. When I first started out in 2011, I got wind that there was a really big company that owned like 150 veterinary hospitals around the US. And I was told by a friend that they're looking for videos. Like they want to make a one video for every hospital. So that means 150 videos. And me and like stomper math really quick, I'm like, if I charge at least $2,000 per video, that's $300,000. I'm like, holy crap. Like I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this them as a client.
Right.
And so I reached out to their director of marketing, and because I got her email from somebody, I messaged her and sent her this a quote, like an estimate proposal with a price and all this stuff. And she never got back to me. And I was like, dang it. It was like a week goes by and I was like, dude, I really want to work with them. So I sent her another email and said, I will do your guys' first video for free because I want to prove to you guys how awesome I can, make this video for you guys. And like, she replied within like 20 minutes. She's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, yeah, let's do it. Like, can we shoot it next week? And I'm like, absolutely. So sure enough, I went out there. I shot the veterinary hospital. It was like an hour and a half from my house. I shot at this veterinary hospital, made it the best damn video. Like I got there at 7 a.m. I didn't leave till like 8:00 at night. I shot all the footage that I possibly could, brought it home. I spent 3 days working on this thing, sent it over to them. They were just absolutely blown away. They were like, this is the best video we've ever seen. Like, holy crap. Like, we want to do more of these. So, can we hire you to do more? And it was just like, of course you can. Like, yeah. So then, unfortunately they didn't go on and do 150 videos, which I had hoped, but they did. I mean, they quickly became a 5-figure client, which means they were spending at least, probably $40,000 a year with me in my business for a good 3 years. And then they kind of pivoted and shifted into other stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was that one video. If you think about it, like that free video that I made, it made me at least $100,000 by doing that over the course of like a 3-year period. And so it was like, are you kidding? That's a no brainer. Like it's an investment. Like you gotta think of it like that way. And some people will, tell you like maybe family or friends, like, oh, never work for free. Oh, you don't want to do that. You're just going to get screwed over. If you do it, strategically and you go after the right people who you're doing free stuff for, it'll absolutely pay dividends. I mean, you don't want to go after some guy who has like a startup and he's like, oh, I need some videos, but I swear I'll hire you more in the future once we get money. Like never work with people who say the word startup. Like I learned early on, that was a huge red flag. So you got to go after companies that have at least like, a couple of employees. I usually go after ones that have 20. Because that means they're more established, because they have money, they know the value of marketing, they want to spend money on videos. But anyways, so that's my story about working for free. And I did it with Russell Brunson too. I started out editing his vlog for him, which is his little YouTube show that they had. And I went on to edit over 100 episodes of that. But the first time he reached out to me, he kept asking me how much I wanted to charge, and I wouldn't answer him because I didn't want to scare him away. I wanted to prove to him that my videos were like he couldn't live without me. I wanted to make him feel like he couldn't live without me first, and then I wanted to give him the price, and that's what I did. And then it didn't seem like he cared what the price was. Once he saw the videos that I made, he was like, I don't care. Like, just send me an invoice. I don't care what it costs. Had I done it the other way, where I was like, oh, it's going to be a couple $1,000s, he would have been like, no, that's cool, man. We'll let you know if we need you. We're probably going to go a different direction. Like, that happens to me all the time when I give the price first, especially with big wigs like that. Like, prove your value first and then tell them how much it's going to cost.
Wow. Yeah. Prove your value first and then charge or tell them how much. I like that. Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking as you were talking, like, there's so many people out there that say don't ever work for free, and I'm like, well, how successful are they, or what are they doing? It's working for free for the right people,
right,
and then in the right situations. Well, Kevin,
yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Definitely. You don't want to go after people, like I said, people who don't have money or what is it? Russell Brunson says that saying all the time, like, don't sell to broke people, and
yes.
It's true. I mean, it's no offense to the people who are broke or whatever, but like there are a lot of business owners who are broke and they don't have money and they will take advantage of you. You just have to be careful with those people. And I've learned that the hard way along the years for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree 100%. Kevin, what skills specifically helped you be successful? And I know video skills and editing and things like that, but maybe personal skills or whatever. What has kind of helped you be successful in your business?
You know what? I read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, about 10 years ago or so. And I listened to it in my car when I was commuting to my job. And I listened to the audiobook, and it like, I got to say, like, that was the one book that just like, it just made me think differently. It made me communicate with people differently. It impacted my relationships, like with my kids, with my wife. So I think that was probably the thing that changed everything for me. Like, honestly, like it just made me look at everything differently. I was like, wow, I got to stop being so selfish and talking about myself all the time. Like, it's like, what can you do for what can you do for other people? What's the value that you can provide them? Because then you start to, it comes back to you, which is true. Because if you just go around with your hand out all the time, like trying to get people to pay you money, if you're always nickel and diming people, like that's not how the world works. Like when you're working with other businesses, something in my eye, when you're working with businesses, like there's still people at the end of the day. There's people who run those businesses. Like you can't treat them like a business. It's not an object. It's like, it's a human being. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but that was the biggest shift for me, was that book. Like I would absolutely pick up that book if you guys are listening to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I've read that book and I really enjoy it as well. I think I read it about 6 years ago. And, so what I'm hearing from that, Kevin, is really just serve other people before yourself, if that's what I heard.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think, I love Zig Ziglar. I can listen to him talk. I just love his voice. And I'm from Louisiana. He's from Texas. But anyway, you give, enough people what they want and you get what you want, and is kind of paraphrase him. And I think it's a servant mentality of what he said. And I know there's people that think that the How to Win Friends and Influence People book is made to manipulate people. And you can use it for that. Absolutely. Just like you can use anything in life to manipulate other people. But I really like the message of treat people with respect and serve them first, and they'll serve you. And so I love that. So what resources would you recommend to people other than the book? Like what skills do you see, or what resources, let me back up. What skills do you feel like would be the best and most return on investment for somebody to learn? Would it be podcast editing, video, building websites? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's some of the stuff that I mentioned. It's definitely the digital services, because everyone's business is online now. At least the vast majority of businesses. I mean, unless you're like a plumber who's still operating out of the Yellow Pages, like there's those, and nothing against them, but like that's how they run their business still. It's great. I know a guy who does that anyways, but yeah, most companies, like it's above 90% are online. And so like, that means that there's a lot of opportunity for people to hire you to do services. And so just like, look out there, start going on Google and like clicking around and look at stuff. I mean, everything about that experience, like somebody is getting paid to do that. Like you see the ads that are on Google, like somebody's getting paid to run those ads, like the wording, like somebody's getting paid to type in that copywriting. And then when you click on it, like the website that you go to, somebody was paid to make that website. Very rarely, like, you know, sometimes the business owner themselves is savvy and they'll make their own websites or whatever. But like most of the time, the bigger companies, they have somebody who runs all that stuff. They have somebody who creates the images for their ads. They have somebody who edits all their videos. They have somebody who transcribes scripts and puts the captions at the bottom of the video. I mean, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, like there's just so much information and data that's like getting uploaded to the internet every day. And it's all people getting paid to do that stuff. So I would insert yourself into that, because that's a huge thing. Like a lot of companies, they're dumping money into marketing. They're dumping hundreds of thousands of dollars a month into marketing. And those are companies that are like small, even that you've never even heard of. Like when you look at big companies like, you know, Nike or something, like those people they're spending millions of dollars a month on marketing. Those are companies that are, you know, hard for any of us to really get as a client. But my point is even some of the smaller guys spending a couple $100,000 a month, like they're looking for people like you to help them with they call them funnels. If you guys haven't heard of a funnel, it's another way of calling a website a funnel. It's just a landing page that you go to. It's like, there's a headline that says, hey, do you want to learn more about XYZ? Enter your email below and we'll send you a free download. And so you go, you enter your email in, and, you know, they just captured you as a lead. Like that page, somebody has to build that. Like there's just so much opportunity. So I think the quickest way to get into to get into the world of digital marketing is probably building websites, doing video editing, writing copy, running ads. Podcasting is big, like you said. I mean, people will pay you to edit their podcasts. Mm-hmm. People will pay you to, you know, design like a cover for their podcast, create a logo for them. So yeah, those are a few that just come to my mind right now. Yeah. That like if my video business was just implode today, I would absolutely go for one of those things first, like right now.
Yeah, and that's not going anywhere. None of that is.
No, unless the internet gets the switch gets flipped off, which you know, hopefully
Maybe.
not.
Hopefully,
then we're all going to become plumbers in the Yellow Pages again.
That's right. Oh man, I'm going to be in trouble because I can't plumb or carpenter or electric.
Right?
I can't do any of that stuff. Oh man. Well, Kevin, what you have a free course right now for video editing? Is that correct? I think you had one at one time.
I have a course on video editing and making ads. Mm-hmm. So it's a very sought after skill, because a lot of businesses they want to run video ads, but they don't know like who to look for to do the ads. And so, yeah, we're really busy making ads for people all the time because there's not a lot of people who understand it the way that we do. And so my course covers that. It covers how to make video ads that actually get people's attention, like how to edit the ads, how to write the scripts, how to put them together, where to find resources online to put ads together. So it's it's all in there. And so if you go to just go to ads.video, and then that'll take you to a landing page where you can kind of, you know, you can sign it. Yeah, that's a funnel. You sign up and you can
Kevin's funnel.
Yeah. And watch my training, and there you go.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Kevin, I think about a year ago, I went through that and I found it very helpful that, you know, one of your free courses, I know you have the bigger course, and I know it's amazing too, but, you know, I learned some stuff, and I want to know how to make a book catch on fire on screen and do all that stuff. I need to get in your other course. Awesome. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. And I mean, you gave so much knowledge. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It's always fun to chat about this stuff. I mean, you never know which direction it's going to go. And it's just, it doesn't, you know, I don't know, but just to end on like a final thought, I think it's just like anyone can really do this. I mean, it doesn't, you know, a lot of people, it's like it's a mindset issue too. Like they think that they can't, maybe either because somebody told them that they can't, like their mother, father, brother, spouse, whatever, was like, no, you can't make money online. That's just a bunch of crap. Like keep working your job, like just, you know, stay in your lane and just do that for the rest of your life. Like if you want to do that, that's fine. But there are other options out there. There's other ways to make money and to like work from home. Like imagine if you just got up every day and just, I mean, we're doing it now because we're in
Yeah.
quarantine, but imagine if you could do that all the time and get paid for it. And you just walk on over to your office in your home and you just turn on your laptop, turn on your computer and just start making money. Like I've been doing that for 10 years. I can't even believe that I can say that. I've been doing that for 10 years now.
Right.
And I don't commute anymore and I don't miss it at all. Like sometimes like I'm in quarantine anyways. I don't even leave my house for like 2 or 3 days. Like my car insurance company loves me because I don't put any miles in my car.
Right.
You know, and so it's a dream. Like I love it, and I'm able to watch my kids grow up, and you know, it's possible. And I'm not like the smartest guy, like you know what I mean, in the world at all. I'm not, you know, and I was able to figure it out. So you guys can figure it out too.
Absolutely. That's a great message to end on, Kevin. And I'm not going to add anything to it because I think it was perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, man. You're welcome. Thanks.
Awesome.